Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Ellsworth. Hello from afar. I guess it's as close as I can get to you right now. It's the best we can do, and I gotta admit I'm a little bit excited about this because I'm kind of missing teaching and kind of missing students. So let's go ahead and get started on chapter 10. I did go and assign a couple of videos to you, Math Antics Quadrilaterals and Math Antics Pi, the relationship between circumference and radius. And so I hope that you did those. Those have been total review from you from 6th and 5th grade. And just remind you of some terms and to get a little bit warmer into the subject, since we haven't talked about any shapes yet either. But I'm also going to review one more thing, and that is area. Area of all these different kinds of figures like squares, triangles, and such. But what I wanted to also remind you is that, hey, when you're watching these videos, you may have to go and repeat a certain section several times, and that's okay. You need to do that. You need to stop and do that so that you make sure that you're understanding the concept. You also should be pausing the videos. Humans cannot multitask. As much as they think that they can, they really cannot. We can only do one thing at a time. So pause them, take those notes, make sure you understand what was just said, and persevere that way. If you do not understand something in the video, you can quickly Google it. You can go and check out something else to see if you can understand it. You can also ask a question online before you do any Google Forms for the answers for your work, and hopefully I can get on there or Mrs. Legou can get on there and help you out with that. So when you're doing these, make sure that you could click on subtitles on all my videos. I know you've got other teachers that are doing videos too. I put mine on YouTube's, and YouTube has got a setting on there so you can get a really good closed captioning on there so you can see how some things are spelled. It's not 100% always, but it's pretty doggone close for reading, for writing what I say. Also, when you watch the videos, don't do anything else. Don't have the TV on. Don't watch that. Don't be listening to other people talking in your house and stuff, or taking care of the dog at the same time. I don't know, whatever. Just do one thing, because again, we can't multitask. I did also send you out a video. It was on how to do math homework online. It was talking about routines that we're going to be doing in our classroom. So I hope that you had a chance to watch all three of those, and so we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, how do you find the area of a square? Lots of you might recognize, hey, you just take the one length and you just square it for a square, because these are going to be the same two lengths. Okay, so you could use that formula. Some of you might think, oh, I'm more comfortable with this formula. I just always think this way. Well, use what you know. Use what you're comfortable with, because that's what you understand. So let's go ahead. I'm going to use this formula right here in the blue, and we're going to go and substitute in place of the side length. We're going to substitute a 6 inches. And so we will get 6 squared, substituting in 6 for S. And so 6 squared is 36. And then also you're squaring the inches. So it's going to be square inches. Notice the 2 is after the inches, not in front of it. It's kind of like the dollar sign on things. People, they always want to put dollars, when you're younger, you always want to put dollars after it, but it's always put in front of it. So this has got the same type of thing going on. It's pronounced square inches, but it's after it. If you would go and put that 2 after the 36 because that looks like that'd be square inches, you're wrong. You're squaring the 36, not the inches. So make sure you put the square after whatever unit that you're using at the time, okay? So that's how you find the area of a square. Okay, next one is the area of a rectangle. Okay, so here's a rectangle that we're going to be looking at, and it, whether you learned from somebody who did length, right? Or if you learned the newer Minnesota standards as base times height, either way is fine. Just make sure that you understand it. So the base of this is 8 and the height is going to be 4. So I've got this pre-written. So the base is 8 and the height is 4. Multiply those together and you get 32. And we also have to take centimeters times centimeters. Remember, those have got an exponent of 1, and you add those exponents. So that's another way of realizing how you get that 2 there. So it's square centimeters, 32 square centimeters. That's how you find the area of a rectangle. Now, what if they wouldn't have this rectangle tipped. Well, this is not a trick question. It's just in math, we always are trying to find patterns for everything. And I wouldn't just throw out something crazy like a diamond or something that we haven't done, because I should say a kite, because we'll always look for patterns. I don't ever give you anything that you haven't done. So you would do the same exact way. Just tilt it in your head, which one's the base, which one's the height, or else vice versa. And you go ahead and persevere in using this formula also. Okay. Let me put this over here. Next thing is a triangle. Okay. A triangle. I'm going to leave this on here because we're going to need this one again too. A triangle, if you remember right, is 1/2 of base times height, or base times height divided by 2. I'm more comfortable with this one because I think it's faster for me in the calculator. Some people type in 0.5 right here and then the base and the height. You get the same exact answer, so it doesn't matter. So you use what you feel comfortable with and what you feel confident with. Now notice that there are 3 triangles right here. I'm going to be doing this one. But notice that the base of this one only goes this far, but you still need the height that is perpendicular to the base. The height that is perpendicular to the base. The height that is perpendicular to the base. So this right here would be 4 for a base, and of course your height would be 3. So those ones are kind of a little bit more tricky. We learned these ones when we were youngest. That's the type that we learned. And but there's also right triangles too. So let's look at that one. So we've got 1/2 of base times height, or base times height divided by 2. So my base is 8, my height is 7. And I'm going to divide that by 2. Now, do you recognize that this looks like it's a rectangle? Okay, and they took half a rectangle, right? And that's why we get that 1/2 base times height, because they took a rectangle and they cut it in half. And so that's how you got that. So this would be 56 divided by 2, get 28. And again, that is square centimeters. Centimeters times centimeters is square centimeters. Okay. Okay, the parallelogram. Parallelogram, I like always showing in class. I like showing a big stack of papers, and I go and I slant them all off to the side so it's shaped like a parallelogram. See it? Here's our parallelogram. Your math books are so old like this that they can slant easily too. But how would you measure the height of this book? Well, you'd measure it straight up from the table it's sitting on, right? And so it's the same exact way here. And that image kind of sticks with me to help me remember that, hey, this is the same exact formula as a rectangle. Okay, we've got the area of the base, we got the base, and we got the height. Oh, that's wonderful. So in this case right here, our base is 10 and our height is 5. So we would have 10 as your base, height would be 5, 50 square yards. Okay. Okay, next one. By the way, all these formulas I've got coming up here where they're all put together. You do want to keep a sheet handy so that that is your sheet that you can add all your formulas to, so you can always use that as a resource and pick it up and go with the next assignment. We'll be adding volumes to it, and then later on surface areas too. So just keep one handy, okay? So next one is a trapezoid. And a trapezoid has got still that same concept of base times height, okay? But this one right here, we have to take an average. So like if you could like extend this one, push that one back in, you're going to have a rectangle shape here. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to take the average of these two. Okay, add them up and divide by 2. So here we go. Here's our formula. Base 1, which is the 14 right here, and base 2, which is the 20. I'm going to add them up, 34, and I'm going to divide by 2 for 17 to be that average of these two lengths right here. Okay, so here it is. So we got 34 divided by 2 is 17. We got to still multiply that by 6 with our order of operations. Got to do it inside the parentheses first. And you get 102. And then centimeters times centimeters is going to be square centimeters. Okay. That one tends to be a formula that students tend to forget and get a little bit worried about once in a while. So keep that one handy for yourself. Okay, and last but not least is the area of a circle. Okay, and that's pi r squared. I always think, well, gee, are they giving me this diameter just to trip me up a little bit? I got to divide that by 2 to get the radius. I think that they do. They're making sure that you understand your concepts. We will always use 3.14, not the pi button, or not 3.1415. We're not going to use anything but 3.14 for pi. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this problem. We're going to take 3.14 for pi and 2.5 for the radius, because that's half. And we're going to square it. Now, again, this is the diameter equals 5. We need radius for this formula, so we got to divide it by 2. So when I go in and multiply these out, first of all, I would go and do this part with my calculator first, 2.5, and I'd square it, and I'd press equal. Times it by 3.14, because I trust me better for order of operations than I do my calculator. When you do that, you get 19.625 square inches, and you have the instructions for all these say to round to the nearest tenth, 25, so that just means you just leave 19.6. You don't have to round up. Okay. Okay, and then here are all those formulas, but I am a physics teacher, so I do go and I remind myself, I write area of the square, area of the rectangle, area of the rectangle, area of the circle, area of the trapezoid, area of the triangles. And so go ahead and write that on your sheet. And so finish that. I got just one more last thing to say about this, about what your assignment is. You can come back to this later and write them all down. But on that Google form, I've got these problems. I've got the purple dots on them. I've got 6 problems that I went and put on a Google form, and so you got to go fill out that form. All you have to do is put down what the value is. I'm not asking you to show me any work on it, because that's going to be a little bit difficult now to do that. And I know some of you were probably happy about that, but that it is what it is. When we did this problem right here, we got the answer of 50 square yards. You can't type in a little baby 2 up here. It just doesn't work right. So in the answers, I will write down 50 space yards and then a big 2. I don't put any space in here. And then if you type it in like that all the time, every time, then you will get it right. I do go back and check. I mean, what happens if you accidentally put a space in here? I'll catch that, and I will give you the points that you need for that. So we'll be handing in our stuff on Google Forms. I'd also mentioned that in the other video too. I also wrote these out for this time as 50 space square space yards. I did that too. So go ahead and do these problems. They're also on the Google Forms, but if you need to share the internet with somebody else in your home, then you can write these down and then go and do them later on a Google Form, put your answer on there, and I'll get them graded and handed back to you right away. Well, I will see you when I see you, and I will see you online tomorrow. Don't forget to go fill out the Google Form with the answers to these now. See you later. Bye.